Hello, everyone, and welcome to our own personal feelings on the Season 3 update thus far. I'm joined with the Oracle of the Abyss himself, Dirt Lord, aka Adam G.
Yep.
I'm here. I'm also here with Co Reed, aka Corey.
Hey, man.
MK, aka Baby.
Hello.
And we got Trav listening. He may chime in from time to time. We'll see. So Season 3 come out like what, a little over 2 weeks ago. Some summer's about there.
Something like that.
And yeah, there was a shit ton of changes, like a lot of changes to the game. Everything as far as like items and how healing and cauterize and wrecker and all this stuff works was completely changed. We also got a couple of character changes, some new talents, some new cards.
Character.
Yeah, we got a new character and all this stuff. So we're just going to give our thoughts and opinions on what's been going on with that. So first of all, I do want to touch on Tiberius since he's the new character. Yeah. From playing with him a decent amount. I haven't played with him like a lot, but for a decent amount. And he's fun to play. He's got a lot of potential and he's got a lot of damage output. But playing against him,
he is not fun to play against.
Incredibly annoying as an opponent.
Oh, for sure. And the main thing that I think that makes him the most aggravating, whatever you want to call it, is his combat trance. So whenever you go into combat trance, your attack and movement speed it increases for 4 seconds. But what doesn't happen is his damage doesn't drop off. Like it doesn't come down at all. So you're doing 650 damage, like almost twice as fast as what you're normally doing the damage. So that means that anybody, well, pretty much anybody, depending on how much ammo you have and all that stuff, you can pretty much burn anybody down with his car.
Anyone but a tank.
Yeah. So with his cards, with his kit, I think that everything is fine. I think everything's okay in my opinion. Combat trance needs to be brought down. And I would think that if they brought it down to about 400, maybe even 500. I mean, because most damages, most flanks, most supports have between 1,800 and 2,500 health. Okay, well, how many shots is that? Not a lot. Your combat trance, whenever you burn somebody down at full health, you still have 1, maybe even 2 shots of that combat trance left to get damage off on somebody else. So if you are completely determined and focused to kill somebody that doesn't have an escape ability or they don't have any other abilities to use at that particular moment, they're basically sitting ducks. They're dead. So that's the main thing that I feel needs to be changed with him.
They gotta change something.
Okay, so I have it wrote down that on Heavy Blade, which I'm looking at the description of it, it does 850 damage and slowed. And then if you recall it, then it deals an additional 500, right? So I feel like since it's already that much damage, that it shouldn't slow as well. But that's just my opinion. So
Yeah, that's rough.
the slow,
Really.
along with all the damage, I get it, it's a guaranteed kill, but the damn Heavy Blade is already almost guaranteed to kill anyways.
Right. Well, and whenever you look at the advanced here, it says it reduces movement speed of enemies hit by 50% for 3 seconds. I think if they either drop that down to 25% or if they reduce the duration of it to 1 second, because if you hit somebody with the Heavy Blade and then you use your combat trance, it's an automatic kill, guaranteed. Whenever you run Tigron's Fury, which causes it to explode, then it shouldn't cause any slowing effects at all. Because if you throw it right behind or right on top of somebody and you hit them with the initial hit, that's 850 plus 500 plus they're slowed. There's no hope for that person to escape whatsoever. So yeah, I think that I don't think that they need to completely take the movement speed out because it's really hard to get those hits. And I know why it's in there, because it goes through shields and it goes through barriers or anything. It can go through Atlas's thing, I'm pretty sure. It can't go through Amani's wall, but it can go through any other kind of shields, deployables, anything like that. Anybody standing in the way, it goes through them. And I understand why it's in there, so that whenever Makoa is turtling around with a shield, then you can just bam, pop him with it, and then he's slowed. He can't move. That gives your tank the opportunity to go in and get damage on him. especially if you're in your team's backline. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that his damage doing 0.7 seconds, 650 damage, I think that's fair because that's, I think, slower than what Cassie fires. And we've been dealing with Cassie since we started playing the game, so we know how to play around her. But also, it's like you've got an ability that gives you guaranteed 650 damage whenever you are right on somebody. Not to mention if you slow them beforehand. All right, so next, with the item changes, the way that you generate your in-game currency, things like that, I do like starting out with more credits. I do like getting credits faster. I like the changes that they made to the prices of everything. The only thing that I have a problem with is Wrecker. And the reason that I have a problem with Wrecker isn't because of the Wrecker item itself. It's because how quickly you can burn down a shield without having Wrecker at all. I mean, it's ridiculous. When we were playing ranked earlier, and I was playing with either Makoa or Barrick or whoever I was playing with, as soon as you throw your shield or you trigger your shield, unless you're playing with Atlas or Inara and you place the barrier and the wall in a very good location, your shield is non-existent. Especially with the way that you have to play the game now. You have to play the game more organized and more together. You have to play together more. There's not a lot of flanking action going on, and when there is flanking action, it's just you're either really good at flanking or you're really lucky at getting stuff done. Most of the time when we play and we encounter flanks, it's not just one person flanking, it's multiple people flanking. You either have 2 people or possibly even 3 people flanking, and then on the point you'll have for sure a tank and then possibly a healer or somebody like that. But if there's any flank action happening, that's how it goes. But everybody's all grouped up all the time, especially whenever you're playing against Vivian and Victor and Tyra, people that don't have a lot of movement abilities. They're just going to dump damage into the shields. I feel like the shielding needs to be upped by like another 1,000 because I don't want to have to invest points in my loadout and dedicate them to increasing your shield health, increasing the duration of the shield. It seems like a waste of points.
Well, I have something to add on to that. So kind of like he's saying, certain people's shields feel worse than others. To me, Khan's is hard to kill. So is Fernando's, and so is Torvald. Like either Torvald's personal or Torvald's thrown on somebody else. But I've been playing a lot of Tyra, and even without fire, I feel like Barracks, Ashes, and Makoa's just die so fucking quick. I don't know what they can do about that, but I think they need to look at it because some people basically are just worthless.
Yeah, and back to what I was saying. I mean, I know playing against the shields and all that stuff is completely different, but like whenever you're playing point tank and you're going, especially in like ranked or some organized team play, as soon as you go on point and you throw your shield and you try to put it to where your team can get into position and that you can use that to deflect as much damage as possible. To me, they go down so fast. And I've been playing a lot of tank here lately, especially since the changes have gone through, to just see how the shielding feels to me. And playing with it myself, it feels like trash. It feels terrible because unless you're running Fortify with Barrack, unless you're running Fortress Breaker with Ash, unless you're running whatever Fernando's talent is to, decrease his shield cooldown and to be able to deploy it infinitely and all that stuff, it just doesn't feel good. The Khan shield, on the other hand, is since it's like a personal shield and he can't really block anything, then that doesn't feel like a substantial loss when you're playing with him. I do feel when I play with Khan that my shield does get broken really quick, but you also have to have more focus on you specifically in order for that shield to go down because it's not covering such a wide area. You know what I mean?
Which I mean, I guess that's a sign that you're doing your job right as a Khan. Like if you're up in the shit, your shield shouldn't last long,
Right. But I do feel like they need to. I think Wrecker itself as the item is fine because the decreased percentage on shots. Whenever you don't have to buy Wrecker to melt somebody's shield, then what's the point of having that item in the item store to begin with? And I understand what the developers were trying to do. They're trying to make it to where, You don't have to buy Cauterize or Wrecker to win. Why do those items exist? If you don't want the team...
What do you think? Do you think they've optioned to make, okay, you know how in certain game situations when we're in the lobby and you see what talent they've bought and you kind of have a good idea of what they're gonna do. So
Right.
do you think maybe they've optioned for Record to be more as a optional
Oh yeah,
rather than something that's form fitted to a particular character's build now?
Yeah.
Like maybe, like, you know, for instance with the loadout, if they've got all those buffs added to the shielding and whatnot, then late game, you know, you'll need Record. Maybe you'll buy it as your third or fourth item.
right. Yeah, I think that's exactly what they did. Is they're trying to make it a little bit more accessible to everybody. It's like, oh, your team is, you've got a Tyra and a Vivian and a Khan and, you know, a Genos on your team. You don't need Wrecker. All you got to do is have your whole team focus the shield for about 0.25 seconds and that bitch is gone. And it's like, well, no, it shouldn't be like that. It should be, you should be able to get in, drop your shield, and play around your shield. At least have enough time to play around your shield a little bit. But the way it stands right now, as soon as you go in, as soon as you drop the shield, it's over. The shield's dead. You're getting focused as the tank, and it's over for you. I want to touch on this real quick because it still kind of falls into the whole Wrecker thing and the item stuff, is Torvald. So I've been playing with Torvald a lot. I like the changes that they made to his cards where you can throw health on them. Like you can kind of heal them a little bit. You give them ammo, this, that, and the other. I like that. What I don't like, and this is unpopular opinion, but damage buffs from other characters are fucking stupid. I said it. I don't know if anybody wants to hear it, but they're fucking stupid. Torvald's damage buff is fucking stupid, and Genos' damage buff is fucking stupid. They're fucking stupid. Okay? Back to Torvald. Field study. They decreased the damage from 15%. It used to be 30%. Then they decreased it to 10% or 15%. Now it's down to 10%. Okay, so you're getting a 10% damage buff. I've seen more people running Thanks Grandpa since the update went live, which increases protection shield health by 500. I've seen that ran more than Field Study. And the reason why is because they dropped the damage buff on Field Study so low that it doesn't feel impactful. Unless you're running them in certain situations. If your team has a Genos and a Torvald, an Emoji, or Androxus, and you just pocket them the whole time with that damage buff, then you're going to win. It's an instant team wipe. Because he does so much damage at base already. Then you stack 25% on top of it, it's over. In my opinion, all damage buff needs to be fucking gone. Specifically, Torvald's fucking shield, his Field Study talent, needs to be completely...
Well, it's kind of crazy to put a damage buff and a shield together.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Why put 1,000 shield and then can't you buff it in your cards? I don't play Torvald, so I don't know all this shit.
Thanks Grandpa's the only thing that buffs it.
Okay, so it doesn't buff it anymore when you put it on people?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, so let's just say it does it then. But still, so you're giving them 1,000 shield, and then you're going to put a damage buff on top of it. Okay? Well, the shield's already hard to kill. You already either have to have somebody that fast fires to kill it, like Strix, Tyra, Koga, somebody like that, right? But then you're going to damage buff somebody as well. So especially with Moji, who you kill the shield, but they still have the damage buff, and then as you get them almost dead, they have that fucking barrier. So it's like another shield, and by the time that ends, they have another shield thrown on them. Why?
Yeah, the damage buff seems unnecessary, especially when you're pocketing only 90% of the time flanks. Because they already do so much, they have so much damage output as it is. So my suggestion would be to just completely rework Field Study. And what I always thought would be an interesting thing is to rework Field Study from a damage buff to a cooldown buff. Think about it.
That's an interesting concept.
Well, think about it. You got a shield every 6 seconds if you don't buy Chronos. If you are using your bubble as more of a defensive weapon instead of an offensive powerhouse, then that would change the dynamic of the character and the game itself. Because instead of pocketing the damages so that they could get more damage, you would want to pocket your healers so that they could heal more. And you want to pocket your fellow frontline if you have one, so that they can get their shield up or whatever their barrier or whatever it is up faster. So to me, it would make more sense if whenever you threw it on them, if it was like a 20%, basically Chronos thrown on them, and that causes all active cooldowns to go down from what they currently are. And then you could use it as more of a defensive thing instead of using it as such an offensive thing. Either way, the only viable way to play Torvald still, even with all the changes, is to have him constantly pocketing somebody and running with them, keeping whatever flank or damage that you've got going with them healed, ammoed, and shielded. So it's basically Torvald feels like he's in the game just to buff one other character. That's it. And that feels awful. With the changes to Cauterize, healing still feels good. Receiving healing still feels good. You just have to play the game a little bit differently. You have to tweak how you normally played it to play it around how much healing you're going to be getting. But it doesn't feel bad. To me, it doesn't. I'll let Adam speak to this because he's the Oracle of the Abyss.
I can't. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? Could
know
tell
exactly.
a little difference, but
Yeah, at first we all felt the difference, but once you got more and more into it, I mean,
you get used to it.
yeah, it still feels kind of the same.
Pretty
And-
much.
Yeah, and having the cauterize reduced, whenever you're running a character that has a lot of self-sustain, it feels better. But if you're getting bursted down or getting shot down, you can still activate your sustain cards, and it'll somewhat keep you alive. The only healer that I really have a problem with, and Corey can speak to this, is Io, with her change to lifelink. So lifelink, Luna heals around allies around here for 200 per second, which is pretty much nothing. It feels like nothing.
It is basically nothing.
Exactly. And whenever you look at her talents, that is the best talent. The rest of the talents suck. Just to put it fair, they suck. Goddess Blessing, 15% reduced damage while they're getting healed. You can only heal one person at a time, so only one person is receiving that defensive buff. Then you have Sacrifice. Whenever Io falls below 200 health while Luna is active, she trades places with Luna, heals for 50% of her health, and Luna dies in her stead. Well, that's great, but that's got a 45-second internal timer on it. And then the redeploy of Luna is 18 seconds. So you're without a Luna for 18 seconds. Once you do that, it's like, is it really worth running that talent?
And not to mention the fact that a lot of times if you end up trading places with Luna, someone's there shooting Luna too.
Exactly. Because she has become...
So you're right back in fucking danger again.
Yeah, because Luna, whether you like it or not, has become the sixth member of your team that doesn't move around. That's just the way she plays. She can capture the point, she can fire, she can stun. She's basically the sixth man of your team, Marlon Wayne's ghost. That's all I'm saying. That's what she is. So, to me, lifelink needs to be upped a little bit more, and then Goddess Blessing and Sacrifice needs to be changed or reworked completely. If you've only got one good talent, and 90% of the people run that talent, what does that say about the other two? The main talent redesign was Strix's Crackshot, and I've played with Crackshot. Talon Rifle now applies an additional 50 damage over 3 seconds to enemies hit, stacking up to 3 times and refreshing on hit. But you are now unable to get headshots, right? I've played with this talent. I know Corey's played with this talent. How do you think it feels, Corey?
It's not my favorite one.
It feels...
But, I mean, it just seems like the damage over time is almost useless, honestly.
Exactly. You're getting 50 damage over 3 seconds.
You see the dots happening, but, I mean, their health bar is not going down at all. I mean, the only people it's really useful on is, like, Eevee if you land a hit and someone else is able to get her pretty quick, too. But,
yeah.
I mean, you're taking up, what, 2/3 of her health with one shot.
Right. But whenever you try to inflict that damage on a tank, it's pretty much meaningless at that point.
It's absolutely meaningless because 50 damage to a tank who has fucking, what, 5,500 health, 4,500 to 5,500 health?
Yeah.
Is completely just nothing to them.
I agree. So what I think of crack shot is, first of all, whenever you shoot somebody, you can see where they are through walls. But that status only applies to you. Your team can't see where they're at. And what is the point of having that on a Strix who gets a shot on somebody? And if they're smart, they're going to get behind something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they're ticking with damage and you can see them, so for 3 seconds, you're going to see them stand there and out of combat heal. What the fuck is the point? If they changed it to where it applied that status globally to where everybody can see where this person is, then that would help.
Oh, so it's only the Strix that can see it?
From what I understand, yes.
Because to me, I thought
That would help
you
a
were
lot.
saying was, because if you're revealed to everyone, somebody's gonna mop that shit up.
Yeah, and
Somebody's gonna roll up and do the deed.
other than Strix, the other person that got a huge talent change was Sky. So on Sky's Smoke and Daggers, it now applies whatever bonuses you have in your loadouts to your team. So we've been seeing a lot of people playing Smoke and Daggers, Sky playing the point and running Healing Vapors at either a 4 or a 5. Basically becoming a support.
Before this update, how many times were we like, why is this guy playing the point?
Yeah.
What's she doing over here?
Yeah.
Go run.
I've seen crazy numbers on their healing too.
Yeah.
To be
And damage.
a flank, and then yeah, absolutely. I've seen upwards of 250 in healing.
Which is insane, especially if you're running a 2 tank. If you're running 2 tanks, you're already running a support, and then you run a off healer Sky that can pretty much melt through everybody, because not only are they getting the healing effects, they're also getting the ammo effects if they're running that card and anything else that you throw in their loadout.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying that it needs to be drastically changed or anything. I like the change that they made to Smoke and Daggers, and I think it makes Sky a little bit more universal, I guess would be the right word for it. Like, you can play her as a damage, or you can play her as a flank, or you can play her as whatever you want to with this change. I think the main culprit is Healing Vapors. I think that needs to be brought down.
Now you can go damage, flank, support.
Yeah, for sure.
All in one game.
Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't feel bad. It actually feels better, but I feel like the problem with her now is that card, Healing Vapors. I mean, it does 125 additional healing at base and scales all the way up to 625. It feels too much. And I think that with the amount of people that's playing it, the amount of videos that are online of people playing it and getting crazy healing numbers, I think something will be nerfed.
They'll change it.
Yeah. Which is fine, because I don't know if a solo Sky healer will ever be a viable thing, especially competitive, but it's scary to think that it could be. So staying in the flank category here, I'm going to go ahead and pivot on over to Moji.
Oh, wow.
So
wait, what did the guy say?
So Moji feels a little better to go against since they reworked that card in Moji's loadout. But Magic Barrier...
But he's still an asshole.
Well, Magic Barrier is still a problem. And the reason that Magic Barrier is still a problem is because if you shoot into it, immediately marks you. They need to take that out of her base kit and they need to put it in one of her talents and be done with it. It is so aggravating and overpowering.
Mm-hmm. There is a difference, though.
Yeah.
You can tell it's different. It's not as bad as it used to be.
No, it's definitely not as bad. And them changing that card was great. I'm glad that they did it. But I still think that they need to tweak one thing. They need to tweak something with her to make her feel right. Because...
What about, like, unlimited ammo? Like, no reload, nothing.
Right.
Is that... I mean, everybody's cool with that? Everybody else has got to reload.
Well,
Well, there's some people that don't, too. But like
They don't?
Grover,
Okay.
for instance, Grover doesn't have
That's
to
right.
reload because he's only got the axe. But look at how slow
It
goes.
takes a minute to get them out there. So that's...
Yeah.
The other night when we were
Moji,
playing...
you fucking hold 2 buttons
Well, y'all...
and then hold W and you fucking won the game.
Well, if they would either do one of two things, with that. They could introduce some kind of reload mechanism for that. At least
Well, what if it had to breathe for a second? You know, there's like a little cooldown there where the dragon's like, all right, let me catch my breath.
The reload just sounds like.
Or if they just took the damage off of the one that sprays the whole time, because you're getting 50 damage a tick, which is as much, if not more, than what Fernando damage is getting. So on top of that, once you stack a full mark on somebody, you're getting 1,000 burst damage.
Yeah.
It's like, holy Jesus of God, you know.
And then that spray just keeps coming.
Moji's damage with her spray needs to be either brought down. They need to.
It's too much, dude.
Yeah, they need to have resilience or something in the game that's purchasable, mess with how she gets her mark stack, or they need to take the instant mark out of her magic barrier. Like, one of those three things needs to happen, and we would be in the right direction with the way that Moji needs to be played. I know that everybody's like, well, Moji's finally viable. Moji's finally viable. Ask Mortis.
But now
RIP.
Moji's so viable. Moji's almost fucking OP.
Well, I think that Moji's getting into that position. I think that Moji's flirting with that line of being overpowered. The only way to deal with Moji is, hopefully to God, she's not getting pocketed by either a Genos or a
Oh my
Torvald.
God.
But the whole team focus and somebody use some CC effect at the exact right time where she doesn't have a barrier, where she doesn't have scamper. Get her stunned long enough for everybody to burst her down. That's the only way to deal with her. So on the same, in the same vein with flanks here, Koga's Memento card, and we're not talking about the fucking Nolan.
I was
Christopher
about
Nolan.
you beat me too.
So
You gotta watch it backwards.
yeah. So Memento, they reworked that talent, and now it increases his maximum ammo. And at level 1, it's 10, and you can buff it all the way up to 50. Koga starts out with 70 ammo. So if you buff it up by 50, that is what, 120? And that's a lot of fucking ammo. And I understand why they put
A lot.
yeah. I understand why they put the card in there, and I get it. And the only thing that I think needs to be done with this is the same thing I feel like needs to be done with Sky's Smoke and Daggers. They need to decrease the ammo per level by, I would say, 7. Cut it down by 3, so that way when you max it out, you're getting 35 instead of 50. And that would make him a little bit easier to counter. But he does feel better. He almost feels like if more people exploit this card, then he's going to become in the same boat Moji's in. Nobody's going to want to play against him. Okay, so...
What else you got?
Alright, so whenever the update went live, they reduced some people's damage. They kind of reworked them a little bit. Like Tyra, they reduced her damage, but they increased her ammo and made her spread a little bit tighter, where she doesn't have as much spread. They reduced a lot of the...
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. They also reduced a lot of the front line's damage, which after playing with it now, it feels alright. I don't like Ash's change to her damage, but I think that they need to buff the explosion radius of it when you're not running slug shot, because it only does, I think, 360 damage whenever you get a direct shot with somebody, and the explosion radius on it is so small that you're not really getting that full potential off of the blast radius. So I think it needs to be up just a little bit. But other than that, the only other person that I would say feels like super fucking damage happy is going against Vivian. Whenever you go against Vivian, she is a walking turret. Like that's her usefulness in the game. That's how she was designed, and that's fine.
Preach.
She is a walking turret that can just pour so much damage, and that's fine. I'm okay with that character being in the game and existing. But since shields no longer matter, it feels like if your team or the enemy team has a Vivian that has any idea what's going on and just hammers the point, they're not even aiming at anybody. They're aiming at that gigantic circle on the ground where the fucking payload comes up. They're just racking up damage and kills and everything else. It's so easy for her to get just an ungodly amount of damage.
Dude, when they're grouped up, it's bad.
Oh, it's very bad.
It's real bad if they got one of those.
Yeah. And then she's got the talent, Opportunity, and Chaos. After firing continuously for 2 seconds, gain 20% increased damage. Bitch has got 70 bullets. And it takes about 5 to 10 seconds to go through your entire clip before you have to reload.
And how long does that reload take?
It takes a
Well,
while.
she
Does
also has cards that if you're looking down the sight, it doesn't take some ammo away too. So she
Yeah,
can fire
so
a lot
here,
longer
here's what I
than
have
me.
wrote down, because I played a shit ton of Vivi. So I wrote down that she either needs one, a damage, a base ammo nerf, or the ammo cards nerf / removed / rework.
Yeah, so if you run Unchecked
Oh
Ambition
wow.
and Hidden Reserves at a 5, then 60% whenever you shoot somebody, 40% whenever you're looking down your sights. So you have almost 100% chance of not having to reload.
The whole game.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
And then if you get Deft Hands and run Opportunity and Chaos, it is fucking ridiculous.
That's why she's always like just so much.
yeah.
Because people that play her, that people that play her like for real, they get good with her. They know that shit. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna run out of bullets.
But I do think that she does need a nerf of some kind, whether it be the cards, the ammo, or the damage. It's got to be
I see
something.
Vivian getting a lot of top plays.
Yeah. And she's
Because
played.
she's burning down people, like getting triples or.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Just
if you
because
add
she's
her
burning
ult
down.
onto it, it's even fucking worse.
I got something I want to say. It ain't got nothing to do with her.
Go for it.
Here's what I've noticed, man, and I don't know if they changed anything to do with him, or if it's just the way the game runs now. But Zen ain't as bad as he used to be. Have y'all noticed that? It's not like it used to be with him. It ain't like, and it may be because not a lot of people are playing fucking Tiger Man now.
Yeah.
Tiberius, aka. But every now and then somebody will be playing Zen, and it's like, it ain't that bad.
If you enjoyed the video, hit that thumbs up button below. Let us know that you like it. If you want to see more, hit that little red box with the letters in it. Thanks for watching, guys.